Today I'm going to be making orange upside down cake. This is from the Golden Girls Cookbook. I'm going to go over what we need. For the oranges and syrup, you need 3 things. You need 2 large oranges, 4 tablespoons of butter, and you need ½ a cup of light brown sugar. And then for the cake, you need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon baking powder, ½ teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon baking soda. You need ½ a cup of sour cream and ½ a cup of milk. You need 1 stick of butter at room temperature. Then you need 2/3 cup of sugar, 2 eggs, and ½ teaspoon of orange extract. You want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and you want to spray a 9-inch round cake pan with non-stick baking spray and set aside.
So you'll also need a saucepan.
Yes, you'll need a saucepan. But the first thing we're going to do is
prep our orange. So what I'm going to do is I've got a knife. It says all these fancy directions about cutting all the ends and all this stuff. I'm just basically going to peel it. But you want to, you don't want to cut too deep, but you want to get rid of, like, see, this is a thick orange. I'm almost tempted to just peel it first and then deal with it.
And then deal with the pulp part.
Yeah.
The white.
Basically, see, I've cut the membrane off the top of that. That's what you want. So you want to get as close to that part as you can without cutting away too much of the juicy part. And I'm cutting it over a bowl, so as whatever juice comes out will fall into that bowl. Yeah, see, I got some of that left, and I probably won't squeeze a lot of that juice out, but I'll try. So now that once you to take, this has always been a hard part for me. They want you to take out, like this part, they want you to take the orange part out of the membrane. And I've never known a good way to do that.
Like the little segments.
Yeah, but they want you to take it out of the skin, basically. So it's got like a, so there's, they want you to take this part out.
Oh, see, I always just eat all that.
I know. They want you to do that. And we're going to take that and lay it on a paper towel.
Oh, okay.
Or, I've just got napkins in here.
Okay.
And I'm not going to be perfect with it because it's just going to tear up. But anyway, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit here and fight with this. And I'm not going to get all of it out like that. I'm just going to lay in the bowl. And when I get done, we'll end up squeezing as much of this juice as we can into this bowl.
So you're going to keep the juice?
Yes, we're going to keep the juice.
So you're going to do the exact same thing with this orange.
Yep.
And then we'll come back.
Yep.
So these are our segments that we got, and then this is the juice. This is all the juice that you're going to use to make your syrup. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take your 4 tablespoons of butter and your brown sugar, and it says heat the butter and sugar in a heavy saucepan over low heat, stirring occasionally until the syrup is bubbling. You'll notice the sugar isn't really dissolved and the butter isn't blended in. Okay, this is just starting to bubble. So what we want to do is we want to take that juice that we reserved from our oranges, and we want to add this in here, and then we want to let it simmer for 4 to 5 minutes until the sugar is dissolved and the syrup is smooth and shiny. So this is what your syrup looks like. So Kevin, this is going to be a joint effort cake. Kevin, it says pour about 2/3 of the syrup into the prepared cake pan. So there's our greased cake pan. We just used the Great Value, it's like vegetable oil spray is what it's called. So 2/3, and then it says, and tilt the pan so the syrup covers the bottom evenly. You want to save the syrup. So just leave that over there. We're going to save it. So see, he is tilting the pan. It covers the bottom evenly. Now it says, arrange some of the smaller segments in a very tight circle in the center of the pan. And then a looser circle just outside the first circle. So he's gonna...
This is not perfection, that's for sure.
There is not a picture in this book that I know of. Put the cake pan in the refrigerator while making the batter. So now we want to take our flour, baking powder, baking soda, and salt, and we're going to sift them into a bowl. So I'm just going to pour these in here like this. And we're going to sift them. Then you want to take your milk and your sour cream, and I'm just going to pour my sour cream right into my milk, and I'm going to mix them together until they're combined. Just stir them together until they're combined. We have 4 ingredients left. We have our butter, our orange extract, our sugar, and our eggs. We're going to put these in our mixer. If you have a hand mixer, it's perfectly fine. And we're going to mix these 4 things together just until they're blended. Take our sour cream milk mix. We're going to put half of this in there and we're going to let it blend. Then we're going to add half the flour mix and we're going to let it blend. And then once those have blended, then we're going to add the remaining. We're going to go back and forth until both of these are used completely. Batter. We took our orange syrup mixture out of the fridge and you can see it firmed up a little bit. Now what you want to do is you want to spoon your batter on top of your orange segments. You don't want to mess up your pattern. Kevin's made a really pretty pattern here and I really don't want to mess it up.
It's a thick batter.
It is a thick batter. So I'm going to put it on here and then we're going to try to gently
smooth it out.
Smooth it out, yeah. And you can see, I'm going to try to put some batter in between.
Yeah.
And maybe that first clump I put was a lot. But maybe if I put batter in between each one, they won't scoot. I wish I had done that with the first one. I didn't think about it. That's what I'm trying anyway. And then hopefully we'll get that pretty pattern when it comes out. Bake until the cake is risen and golden brown around the edges, about 35 minutes. So I'm going to put this in for 35 minutes exactly, and then we'll be back.
Okay, so here's the cake out of the oven. It has to cool for like 30 minutes, so I set a timer for 30 minutes. We're going to let it sit right here in this pan and this cooling rack and cool off, and I'll be back when it's time's up.
So the cake has been cooling for 30 minutes. I have the tray that I want to, the glass tray I want to cut it on, and so I'm going to put that over the top. Oh, first of all though, it does say, sorry, it does say take a knife and go around the edge. So I do want to do that just in case any of it's stuck. It doesn't look like it did, but just to make sure, like right here, there's a little bit of that syrup, so it might have tried to stick. And so it says, basically flip your cake out, and then it says if any of the orange pieces stick in the pan, don't worry about it. Just scrape them off and attach them directly to the cake. So it's not a big deal if any of them stick in the pan. And they didn't. That is great. So you want to, the syrup that you've had, the syrup that's remaining in your pan, you want to heat that up. And we're going to, basically it said to brush it over the top. So I'm going to pour it over the top because I'm going to use it all. But then I have a brush and I can brush it, I can make it thinner with the brush. But I just want to make sure I use all of this because this is going to be where all your sweetness is. This is cooled completely, so I'm gonna cut it.
Not that she wanted it to.
I did not. I absolutely did not want it to cool completely. I wanted to have it right after we put the warm syrup on it because that just seems like the right thing to do. But we waited. It's cooled. And here it is. So it's probably good that you wait till it cools so that it does come out in one piece. So the book says, down in Florida, the girls get their fill of oranges in juice, cocktails, and this light and refreshing dessert. This is a fancy looking cake, dense in texture but light in flavor, and it's so simple. Blanche can pull it together while her nails are drying, as long as Rose does the measuring and Sophia does the dishes. It says it makes one 9-inch cake. Prep time is 20 minutes. Cook time is 30 minutes. And it doesn't tell you how many slices you're supposed to get. I guess you just cut it any way you want to cut it. It also says the cake will last wrapped in plastic at room temperature for at least 2 days. So I'm wondering if it's really going to taste like orange.
Oh, what's a little scary? It said it was a dense cake with light. It was what, heavy on something, light on flavor. It's like,
It says light and refreshing dessert. It says dense in texture, but light in flavor.
Yeah, dense in texture and light in flavor. You know what? I have to agree with that description.
Mm-hmm.
That cake is very,
yes,
heavy.
It is very dense. The best
I mean, it's almost like the inside of a biscuit. Like a United States biscuit, not a UK biscuit.
Normally, I'm tempted to lick the bowl, the batter, or lick the beater. I wasn't this time because it looked like when I was putting it into the pan, it looked like a biscuit consistency, biscuit dough before you bake the biscuits.
Yeah.
And
that's what it tastes like. Yeah,
and that is really what it tastes like. All the wonderful flavor is from that glaze on the top, the brown sugar and butter mixture, and it's very little orange at all.
Yeah, hardly anything. I mean, you could have tripled that orange, and
yes,
and it still would have been white.
Yeah, you only use a half a teaspoon of orange extract. You would have needed to use a whole lot more to get the orange flavor.
Plus, you squeezed and got a little bit of actual orange juice in there.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
And we're eating little pieces of orange on the top.
Yeah, it's hardly there.
Yeah, this is one I would not make again. I don't really like the texture of the cake, and I don't really think the orange is strong enough.
I ate the top off mine, the glaze part.
That's the best part.
And the rest is just, literally looking at that, looks like biscuit. It looks like the inside of a very, very thick biscuit.
It's even denser than like a pound cake or an angel food cake. It's not even as fluffy as those.
Yeah.
And those are pretty dense.
I don't think it's bad.
I don't think it's bad.
I just think it was a lot of trouble for very, very little orange flavor.
Yeah.
I think you could have used a tablespoon and a half of the orange extract. Absolutely.
Or mix in some with the cake itself. Because the cake really doesn't have a lot. I mean,
well, it does have half a teaspoon.
That's true.
Yeah, that's where you put it. You put your orange extract in the cake.
So that would make the cake a little stronger.
Yeah, yeah, that's where you put it, is in your cake mix, and it just absolutely made no difference at all.
And then the topping is really not strong orange.
I think if I tried it by itself.
That's probably why I was thinking it wasn't in the cake, because I didn't really taste it in the cake. It's not really there.
No, it's just not enough at all.
I think if you want to make something homemade that kind of looks like an pineapple upside down cake and has an orange, I mean, you're almost better off buying the cake mix, an orange cake mix at the store.
It's funny because I was on the phone with my dad and I told him, I said, I'm making a cake. He said, what kind of cake are you making? I said, an orange cake. Well, I didn't elaborate that it was an orange upside down cake. And he said, oh, I used to love when your mom would go to the store and she would get an orange box mix and she would get the orange frosting and put that on top. He said it was delicious. Well, you're going to get more orange flavor out of that box mix. I mean,
it's artificial, but still.
Right, and you're not going to go to all this trouble. If you want the look and everything, I do think you could do this, absolutely. But that orange extract needs to be jacked way up.
Yeah.
You need, like, literally, instead of a half a teaspoon, it needs to be 1.5 teaspoons.
Yeah. And just know it's kind of a dense cake.
Yes, it is more like a biscuit, like a country, like Cracker Barrel biscuit. That's what this is. It's a really thick big biscuit. And I don't mind that.
I don't mind it either.
If it had that orange flavor.
Yeah. It's sweet enough. It's just not doesn't.
It just doesn't have the orange that I wanted it to have. So I hope you enjoyed the video and thanks for watching.